Welcome back to episode 2 of Penny Pinchin' Mom versus Crunchy Mom, where we look at different food news and how it might affect you. And you know what? Everybody has a different view when it comes to news, so don't forget to leave us a comment and tell us your side of the story as well. Now, if you don't know, my name is Jen. I am the Penny Pinchin' Mom, and who the heck are you?
I'm Crystal. I'm the Crunchy Mom extraordinaire.
I'm not sure how you got the extraordinaire, but we'll let it go. Okay, so our first news story is actually a loop back to last week. So you may remember we talked about malic acid when it comes to cereal bars. Well, we have yet another malic acid lawsuit. This time it is against Schweppes and Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Now, they're claiming that the majority of these product options are listed as naturally flavored, but they actually contain synthetic malic acid. So, same thing. What's a little different this time, last time it was a store brand. This time it's a brand name, so it's a premium brand. And so I can kind of follow the logic that she spent more money in order to get natural, quote unquote, products. I get that. The problem I have with this is that I looked at both of their websites and I could only find malic acid listed in the zero sugar version of Canada Dry. And so that kind of makes sense because you don't want to add a flavoring that could possibly add calories. But what was kind of interesting, both of these companies sell seltzer water, like flavored seltzer water. And if you're not aware, usually the ingredient list says carbonated water and natural flavors. Okay. Now, personally, I can't do seltzer water. I might be able to smell the essence a little bit, but really it tastes like hot, spicy bubble water.
Well, that's funny because we call it spicy water in our house. We are a spicy
So it
water
is
household.
spicy to other people then. Okay, I feel better. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. We're a spicy water household and we do different brands and stuff like that, trying to stay away from sodas and hundreds of empty calories can after can. So when you do a spicy water, it gives you some of that bubble and some flavor, depending on the brand, varies on the flavor. And then it, I don't know, kind of scratches an itch that we have for soda without keeping soda in the house. So,
Well, and if you're used to drinking soda, it's very easy to drink like bottle or cup after cup. And before you know it, that's like 1,000, 1,500 calories.
yeah,
Now, have you ever looked at the ingredient lists on these flavored waters? Have you
I
seen this
have,
where
and
it just
it's
says natural flavors?
right. And so it's really vague, which I guess I kind of get from a proprietary standpoint. But like, if you're telling me it's blackberry lemonade, like I need to know that there's blackberry and perhaps a lemon in there, or the essence of it, I should say.
Well, it's funny you said that because I'm not finding these claims that she's saying that they're all labeled as natural flavored, but I am finding they have one that was like a grape flavored or like a black cherry flavor. And this is ridiculous from a marketing standpoint because this makes me question everything. It says
Sure.
naturally flavored with other natural flavors.
It's like the box. It's like the cereal bars all over again. How it's
It
naturally
is like,
flavored
I
with
mean,
other natural flavors.
when you really look at it, it's kind of telling you, so this may be grape or black cherry, but we used a whole bunch of other weird combos that we're not really going to
Yeah.
share with you to make you think you're drinking grape.
Well,
Or
it's
at
kind of
least
like cranberry juice. Like cranberry juice isn't
that's
just
true.
cranberry
It's a
juice. There's
blend of, yeah.
whole lot of stuff.
But so that's a little weird. Okay.
No.
But so I'm torn on this one because she basically stated that she had a food grade lab test these products and they all found malic acid in them. So I think what she's implying is these quote unquote natural flavors
Yeah.
is actually including synthetic malic acid. So it's not just the like 2 or 3 products that actually said malic acid on there. I think she's implying that some of these that just say natural flavors should have another, parenthesis, another, God, what is that thing called? A comma.
Yeah.
Brain fart. Another comma and then malic acid.
Yeah, well,
So,
because it doesn't list it at all in the
right.
ingredient list, which is wild.
And so I agree that it's probably proprietary because if they found, 17 different fruits that when combined taste like black cherry, they
Yeah.
probably don't want to spill that information to somebody else. But I would assume that you use grape to make it taste like grape. I
Oh,
mean,
apparently you'd be assuming wrong. No,
well,
it's
I'm
kind of,
assuming wrong now because now I am questioning everything that says natural flavoring. And I will be looking out now for natural flavors with other natural flavors because if that doesn't sound like some marketing weirdness.
that's some circles for you right there. But the funny thing about Schweppes ginger ale is it doesn't even
Mhm.
have ginger in it. And one thing that really, yeah, I see your face. I'll get you there. So I went one time and my husband was sick and he was like, I just want some ginger ale. I was like, cool, I got you, babe. So I go to the grocery store and I'm like, if I'm gonna get
Oh,
a
wait a minute.
ginger
You were
ale,
actually looking for ginger ale with ginger?
yes,
Who
yep,
would have known you had to do that?
I know. Well, I was like, well, let me see if I can find one that's not just the essence of ginger, but like actual ginger. And so I pick up Schweppes and Canada Dry, and I'm like, okay, 0 for 2 on those, neither of which have actual ginger in them. And I looked at Red Rock, which is a smaller company, also no ginger. And it wasn't until I got into like the craft ginger ale that I found one that had actual ginger in it.
Okay, see, this just blows my mind, though. Like, how can it be ginger ale if it contains no ginger?
Your guess is as good as mine, in all
Like, what
honesty.
does it
Like,
have? Like, ginger extract?
but it doesn't even say that it's a ginger extract or a ginger anything. It just says natural flavors. So, like,
It could be
is there any,
anything.
right?
It could be sassafras that they've twisted to make. I just like saying the word, but still, you get my point that they just, I don't get to use the word very often, so I try to throw it in there whatever I
Thank you
can.
for your daily
Yeah.
use of sassafras.
But I'm just saying it could be anything's kind of in that similar vein to get that taste, but doesn't that kind of make me never want to buy ginger ale again?
Maybe if you're in a bar and they don't actually have ginger ale, it's Sprite with a splash of Coke.
No, that is so not ginger.
Yeah,
But does that actually taste similar?
I guess it's close enough. I don't know. It's probably
Well, it
happened.
depends
It's
on what drink number you're on, I guess.
well, I usually get ginger ale with another hearty substance attached to it. It's a family show. So, but I don't know. I honestly don't know because it may be masked by the other things that are in it, so it may not even matter.
Well, so if you think, though, that this whole malic acid thing is just for fun and giggles lately, so I went down this rabbit hole because it's kind of
Oh
like an
boy.
earworm. Like once you get it in your head, you see it everywhere. You gotta deep dive to get it
Yeah.
out. God, that sounded awful.
It's
So
like a splinter.
I know it is. That's how I feel about reading the news. It's like a splinter. You got to keep going so you can get it out. But these malic acid lawsuits have been going on since 2018.
Oh,
So for
wow.
6 years, there's been tons of lawsuits, all related to everything from gummy fruit snacks like fruit by the foot, fruit roll ups, of course, lots of beverages like specifically flavored waters, even juices like V8 Splash. There was a big thing about V8 Splash was marketed as being super healthy and it had
It's
so
weird.
little actual juice in it that by looking at the ingredients, you would never assume it's healthy. And then even water enhancers like store brand and Neo brand.
Yeah.
This one kind of cracked me up. So Conagra makes a chili lemon flavored sunflower seeds listed as all natural,
Yeah.
has malic acid. So, and now, of course, once you start looking at malic acid, you start seeing other things pop up, which is then citric acid. And brands like Capri Sun are being sued because their products say all natural flavors, but it has synthetic citric acid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's this all natural label. And of course, we discussed natural has no regulation, which
Yeah.
then kind of brings up aren't all these lawsuits moot because natural means nothing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's subjective. So when you label something as natural, I don't know where the buck stops, but I mean, obviously they keep coming up. So something got through and succeeded where people are like, hey, this also has that. Why don't we keep going? There's like another situation like that.
Well,
It's
I think it's going to get
unrelated,
to
but
the point where businesses are not going to use this term all natural anymore unless they can truly verify everything is natural, which then again, that's kind of an issue. But
well, then
don't
I
you
have a
think that it's probably like organic, all natural, regular that people are like, well, I can't afford to buy organic ginger ale. I'll just go with
yeah.
the premium brand that I pay a little bit more because it's got to be better than store brand ginger ale.
But it kind of goes back to like the actual ingredients that are being used and not necessarily like the brand. We've determined like
Yeah,
when I brought up Jiffy Pop last time. And
exactly. So now I'm going to be more likely to look at that store brand and or even just the one step above store brand because that might be the cleanest option.
yeah, you never know. So a lot of times I'll just look through ingredient lists and I may end up on something that doesn't by the front of the box indicate that it would be the cleanest thing, but it's got 3 ingredients compared to this one that's listed as all natural, but it has 17 different things in it. So like it's subjective.
Well, and it makes you like, don't even look at the front of the box. Just turn
Yeah.
everything around and look there. And then I'm going to have to like get, you know, 3 inches away from the box so I can read the little mice type on it. And then
But
get
all
out
the
my
marketing
dictionary
people,
to find out all these terms. Oh,
but all the
too much
marketing people
work.
and the money they've spent and the colors they put there for you to buy it. All the colors.
That marketing costs a fortune. And it's
I know.
why, your brand name ginger ale costs so much
Yeah.
because they've paid for you to know their name.
Yeah, they really have. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of wild.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. This
Okay.
is kind of a fun. I don't defend. It really depends on how you define fun. Okay. It's fun for me as a food nerd,
Yeah, yeah.
but we are now on to weird recalls. Okay.
Ooh.
The first one, weird, but also potentially dangerous.
Okay.
Okay. So Coca Cola makes Minute Maid lemonade, and they accidentally labeled zero sugar lemonade, or excuse me, they put the labels on a product saying it was zero sugar lemonade when it was actually full sugar lemonade.
Oh.
And they are calling it a labeling mix up. That's a pretty big oops. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm guessing a good majority of people that drink zero sugar are either those that are dieting, trying to control their sugar, maybe diabetic or pre diabetic.
Right.
And so if you drank this zero sugar lemonade, first off, I would think it would taste very strange if you're used to zero sugar. So you would
Yeah.
probably know something was up. But this has the potential to hurt somebody.
Yeah, it really does. Like, especially someone who's diabetic. And you would hope that you would taste the difference or at least kind of notice if something was a little off. But if you just picked something up, took a drink of it, and carried on, not really paying attention to it, like I could see someone drinking it, thinking it's sugar free, going, that's weird, and just carry on.
And especially if they hadn't particularly, like maybe this is the first time they tried it. You're like,
Yeah,
man, this zero sugar tastes just like the real stuff. And just because they didn't know any better. So I can
right.
totally see why this was a valid recall and they had to pull it. But when you
Yeah,
think about it, the actual lemonade product was fine. As
yeah,
long as you knew that it was actually full sugar, like it wasn't one of, because we see so many recalls with E. coli and listeria, and things that can seriously hurt you. But the
Yeah.
average person drinking full sugar lemonade, that's not going to hurt them.
Right.
And so this kind of brings up the question, what do they do with these products that have been recalled, but they aren't necessarily harmful? It's more like a labeling mix up. Do you know what
I
happens?
I hate it, but they throw it all away.
They
They
do.
trash it.
Trash it. And you would think that there would be some type of way to put like a sticker over it and then send it on to like a food bank or something. But no, once it's on the recalled list, it is doomed for the landfill. Now I'm hoping that maybe they poured it all out. I don't know.
I don't know
I
what the
don't know what's
logistics
worse.
look
Either
like.
way, it's a crap ton of plastic being sent to the landfill for no reason other than somebody goofed on the label.
When I worked at Starbucks and we had things that say we got shipments of milk that was kind of close to expiration, but we didn't make it all the way through, we would put it in the sink and cut it with a box cutter. And so they drain out in the sink, and then we'd rinse them out and throw them in the recycling because they did a lot of recycling. So I can only hope that something similar happened, but then you have to peel the label off of them too because it's a different recycling material.
Well, and they've shown too that some of these beverage containers, because I'm assuming that these were kind of the larger containers, they have so many different plastics in them, they're not even recyclable. Yeah.
Hate it.
So, okay, we have a part 2 of weird recalls. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I am a huge fan of butter, but Costco just recalled 80,000 pounds of butter for the silliest reason you've ever thought of. Okay. So, this 80,000 pounds of butter, once again, a labeling mistake. They forgot one key ingredient on the ingredient list. Can you guess what it was?
I've read it, so I already know, and it makes me so mad, but it doesn't say it contains milk.
Okay. Is there anyone on the planet who's eating butter, preferably not by the stick, but who's eating butter who doesn't know it contains milk? Okay, I'm just
God, I
talking
would
about, you've
hope
seen
not.
those videos where they're like taking bites of butter and it's like,
My kid used to when she was little, but that's neither here nor there.
oh, anywho, if you're eating butter, I pray that you know you're eating milk.
Yeah,
And
for
so
real.
the kicker here is it's not just 80,000 pounds of one type of butter. It was 47,000 pounds of unsalted and then 32,000 pounds of salted. So that means that they missed the labeling twice. Okay. I mean, were they letting the interns run the butter line? How do you miss that?
How do I don't understand. Like, I understand when you go through but like more than one person had to have seen this design. Like, if they made a design change, like it had to have passed through multiple hands. However, you heard about the Mattel thing, right?
Oh, oh, talk about the greatest goof in quality assurance.
Yeah, yeah. When you put a not safe for families or children website on the back of your Barbie doll box for the Wicked box, but like somebody had to have seen that. It could have taken 2 seconds, like, hey, do you know what the website is? And clackety, clackety, figure it out. But no, they're like, it must be this website instead. And they had to recall all those Barbies because the boxes were wrong.
And do they just take them out and put them in a new box? Like,
I
if you
hope
got one
so.
of these old boxes that had the wrong thing, is it now going to be worth a gazillion dollars?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but this just kills me because you got all this butter
Yep.
that everybody on the planet should know includes milk.
Yep.
But now all this butter has to go to the landfill because they can't give it in good conscience to, a homeless ministry or a food bank or any type
Yep.
of giveaway to food, because on the slight chance that somebody's going to get it and not understand that it contains milk,
Yeah. It's
that
wild.
hurts my heart. Like,
I know.
first off, it's
There's so much.
butter, and second off, it's, people that go to like food banks and food pantries, one of the things they wish they could get was butter.
Right. I know. Now, this one I
Oh,
feel like should be resolvable with a sticker.
with
This
a
one
sticker.
feels, yeah, this isn't a
And it's not even
repackage. This is,
clear if, like, I think it still said contains milk, but under the actual ingredient list, it didn't have milk. So who is messing with these labels? Because I'm going to assume the Kirkland signature butter doesn't change from, each time they make it. Like,
right.
why were they goofing with the label?
I don't know. Maybe somebody copied and pasted and did a very poor job.
Oh, craziness. But I'm sure I have no idea how much 80,000 pounds of butter cost, but
Oh,
dang, that's a bad day, you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I kind of want to
So,
math it, but
yeah. So you may have noticed that we have just seen so many recalls. And I don't know if part of it's because we can get information quicker and we can really spread information quicker, but it really feels like the amount of recalls is higher than it's ever been. So I dug a little deeper on that because that's how I do it. And so
yep.
come to find out, 2023 set a 5-year annual high for total recalls.
Wow.
2024 is on track with 2023. So it will actually be a 6-year high. And when it comes down to it, recalls are done by the USDA and the FDA. USDA, anything that's like USDA inspected, you're talking meat products, eggs, milk, that all comes from the USDA. Everything else that's not inspected comes from the FDA.
Right.
And there's pretty much 3 major reasons for all of these recalls. One, because they had an undeclared allergen, which is where the milk came in, because that's on the list of allergens. The second thing, which doesn't affect either one of these, was we have an increasing amount of food coming from other countries. And those countries don't have the same regulations that we do, and it's so much harder to trace their ingredients.
Right.
So the last one I find kind of humorous because we've talked about this a little bit on my Facebook page. Production operations are getting larger. We are seeing these huge farms, these huge food plants, warehouses, and even processing plants. Um, Gosh, what was it? It was a giant farm processing place. Um, was it? It wasn't celery. Oh, I forgot what it was.
Was it the chicken one?
No, this is the one where it was produce. And they recalled produce from Aldi's, Walmart, a whole bunch of other grocery store chains. And it showed you that, like, everything up the eastern seaboard all got their produce from the same processing plant. So it didn't really matter if you were shopping high end or low end. Basically, you're still getting the same produce.
There was
But
pre-cooked chicken.
there was one produce item. It may have been like green onions or something. It was something relatively small. But because it was processed on the same like 3-day span that like 14 other things were processed on, they had
Yep.
to recall everything because when it comes to like a bacterial infection like listeria,
Yeah.
even though there was a very slight chance, they had to recall everything. And so the bigger and bigger these processing plants go, what was it? The like 800 different brands of waffles were just
Yeah, I saw
recalled.
that too.
I mean, and if you didn't know, there are waffle factories, just one giant waffle factory that makes all the waffles. And we're talking everything from store brand to Kodiak to organic Simple Truth and everything in between all came from one factory. And therefore, because one of the items tested, and I believe that one might have been listeria, I can't remember,
I think it was too.
everything, because all of those had the potential to be on that same equipment.
Yeah, you
Which,
just had no idea.
so this brings up a question though. If you're paying extra for organic, non GMO, quote unquote, all natural frozen waffles, do you care that it is made on the exact same equipment that store brand regular waffles are made on?
I'm not pumped about it, but I also kind of like it still falls within the parameters because it's like 90% or above is considered like wholly organic.
Yeah.
So when you process things through the same channels, I guess if it's still falling under those guidelines, then it's still considered organic. And then most of the time, like the quality of ingredients is more of what I'm looking at. So if it's a company that uses a higher quality ingredient, I think I'm still getting a lot of the benefit of that, but it does kind of muddy the water though, you know?
It does because okay, so that basically means that these, and I'm not saying you are, but I know that there's some people that are almost like terrified of GMOs. Like they're having nightmares about little GMOs coming out from under their bed and attacking them. You know,
Oh no.
that's the way they sound. They're like, "Oh my god, I will die if I eat a GMO." And that boggles my mind. But this I hate to bring this up because I have already pissed off enough vegans, and so I'm just gonna throw it in a little
Oh.
more. If you are vegan, you have eaten bugs. You cannot harvest things out in a field and it not contain a cricket, a ladybug. And I get that your little vegan hearts are breaking because you don't want to hurt an animal,
Hey, hey.
but there is a parts per million of bug particles in your vegan burger.
Yeah, but part of that has to do with like factory farms, which I understand. And this goes into the concentration of manufacturing as well. So like if part of your issue with the meat industry is factory farms and quality of life and like, you know, the actual quality of the animals that are in this scenario that are just being grown like tomatoes but treated so poorly, like I, like a little sprinkling of bugs in your food is very different than the
Oh, because they
entire.
were humanely chopped up in the Columbine that
Yeah,
cut up the wheat. Okay, I
yeah.
totally. And I still suspect that if your meat is labeled as humanely treated, it just means they don't yell at them. That's it.
uh I think, I mean,
I think they don't
I'm
yell
just
at them
saying
in
there's
front
a
of
difference.
inspectors.
I'm just saying there's a difference, and I can see where vegan people, I've known people who go start. I had a friend who started from a health standpoint, and it really did change her health entirely. And then after the fact, kind of became also a part of, you know, the manufacturing, the factory farming of animals and the
I
mistreatment
can
of those.
actually
So
understand like the health benefit side of it, but when I did kind of like a little post about what was it, vegan hard boiled eggs,
yeah,
I didn't ask the question to be insulting. I asked the question, if you're vegan, why do you want to eat food, fake food that tastes like meat? Because to me, if you don't want to eat meat or meat products, you wouldn't want to eat them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and so there was a couple people that was very nice about it and just saying, but they had like alpha gal or the things where they
yeah,
they would actually get sick when they ate meat products, and but this was a way that they could still enjoy it, so I understood
yeah,
that. But it's that particular brand, all over their packaging was all about humanely sourced, morally ethical. They weren't catering to the people that are allergic to eggs or unable to eat them. They
yeah,
were catering to the ones that refuse to eat real eggs due to humanity, humanely treating them.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
just
But I
it
can see
kind
that.
of I just didn't understand it. And
Well,
honestly, for
there's
people that are so concerned about animals, I'm just going to say the majority of them didn't seem to care much about humans.
I think that's humanity in general, if we're being honest, but nobody's farming
That may
us,
be
at least
true.
not
I'm just
yet.
saying, like, if you're a nice vegan, can you say hi? Because I did not meet any nice ones. Like, oh, I met like 3. The other
Oh.
1,000 that jumped on the like, hate bandwagon. Yeah, that was good.
I think it's really easy to get defensive though when you're in that situation because people, and I think you're constantly on the defensive. You know what I mean? So like, it would make it easier to go from like 0 to 100 in what feels like a simple question. But again, it's because it's where you normally end up anyway. So you're like, well, why go through all the steps to get to 100?
Just
Let's
go
just take it there.
straight to crazy pants.
But I get it. If I was constantly defending myself, I'd
If I
probably be
had
the
to
same way.
constantly
So.
defend my decisions, maybe I would just go straight to crazy pants answer as well. But I'm just saying I didn't mean it in a bad way. It was just
I know. I
I
know.
didn't
But,
understand.
well,
I
and
have now been
we've had a,
informed. I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand.
well, we have a
Woo!
conversation, and that's okay. We don't agree on everything either.
No.
So, hence why I'm sitting here. If we agreed on everything, this would be absolutely a snooze fest for everyone involved. Be like, oh, pat you on the back. Oh, yeah? I'm going to pat you on the back, friend. No, it's not how we roll. So, we'll.
But I find myself, the more I talk to you, the more I'm kind of wanting to lean crunchy, like not full on crunchy, but just a little bit. But I'm not going full over. I'm sorry. I'm not
I know.
crossing the line.
Well,
So
I didn't start all the way in crazy crunchy lane. Like I
you
started
like
with,
gradually gone into crunchy town.
yeah. I'm the mayor of Crunchy Town. Like, but I didn't. I
I was
just
about to
was
say
looking
I
at the
knew
neighbor.
you when you were a teenager, so I know you've not always been crunchy.
Crunchy when I eat my bag of Doritos in the middle of the night. That's about it.
I guess I should tell people that we have been friends for 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know a lot about each other in 30 years. And,
Yeah.
I would say that even though we've always stayed friends, we've always been really good about debating anything. So,
Yeah.
anywho, let's get on to our third story. And to be honest with you, I had to read this story multiple times. Okay. Because it was just
Yeah.
that confusing. Okay. So, Chipotle shareholders, meaning those that own shares in Chipotle, are
Chipotle.
now suing over skimpy portion sizes. Okay? See, that's where it gets confusing. It's not. Okay, so let's go back. So, at the beginning of 2024, the CEO of Chipotle went on an interview and stated that if you're having problems getting a full burrito bowl, you just have to give employees the look.
This one.
Okay, if I was an employee, I'm fearful that maybe you're, no, not that look. I'm just saying that what exactly is the look? I have like troll face. They're going to think I'm having a stroke. They're not going to be worried I'm like hitting on them, or they're going to think like, do I need to call 911? Something's wrong with this woman's face.
Can I go try different looks at Chipotle? Just be like,
Like, I mean, maybe one look gets you more guacamole, one look gets you extra beans. I don't know. I'm
one
sure,
look.
like, I'm giving like constipated look because I would be a deer in the headlights. Like, oh my God, give me more veggies, but not saying that.
Well, and then one look could get you a restraining order.
That's
So
what I'm saying. So, do I take the chance of offending the employee just to get more corn? Like,
no.
I don't know. But so anyway, and this was like blowing up on social media about people were complaining that their to go orders, their DoorDash orders, and even their in person orders were not as substantial as they have been in the past. And there was all
Right.
these hacks of how to get your full burrito bowl. And they were encouraging people to like whip out their phone and record them, which had the employees upset. And they were like actually kicking people out for like recording them.
Yeah.
And so then the kicker, first off, I did not know that Wells Fargo has restaurant analysts. So that was new.
Weird.
But one of their analysts placed orders for 75 burrito bowls, all exactly the
Wow.
same. White rice, black beans, chicken, pico de gallo, cheese, and lettuce at 8 different Chipotle locations in New York City.
Huh.
This and this was not just for an experiment. They actually bought them for employee lunches, which was kind of
Okay.
nice when you think about it. And the analysis found that the consistency across the portions was so widely varied. There was like not even 2 bowls that weighed close to the same amount.
Oh,
Like
wow.
they were so heavy to so light just at 8 locations. And so this actually forced the CEO to
Huh.
then backtrack and say, because you originally implied that these restaurants that had skimpy portions were outliers, that they must have just been confused, they were concerned about food costs, that it was just not the norm. So
Right.
they then had to backtrack all that and say, you know what, we're going to fix this issue. We're going to give portion control training to everybody. We've now got avocado robots that make guacamole, which is weird. Yeah, exactly. And then they've also got these new robots, which really just looks like a dang scale they put on a table and then they measure it. I mean, super complicated. But so now the shareholders are basically stating that because Chipotle basically handled this horribly, that
Right.
because they knowingly did wrongful acts and then basically omissions about the acts, that
Right.
it made the decline of the market value of the common shares, meaning shareholders lost significant amounts of money. And
Huh.
so the proposed action says anyone who bought or sold Chipotle stock from February 8th to October 29th would be eligible for basically compensation. And this
Oh.
just blows my mind because if this had been a class action lawsuit by customers, people that actually bought the bowls and got gypped, I could totally understand it because there's been plenty of online, experiences, videos.
Yeah.
But so if a company does wrong and they get bad publicity and they respond to it badly, did they now owe it to their shareholders to reimburse them because they picked a crappy company to invest in?
Right. That was the choice that they made. Like, it's a crapshoot whenever you do invest with a company. And realistically, like, so said the issue was in January, right? So, like, the
Oh, that's
stock
when it
prices,
started. Yeah.
yeah. So, the stock prices at its lowest were January 4th at 44.41. That's the lowest point. It was a little
Okay.
lower in December of last year, but it has done nothing but gone up. Like it dipped a little bit, but it still never dipped below what it was in January. So I don't necessarily know that there were like
But so if you're
losses.
looking at it from February 8th to October 29th,
They've done
the
nothing
stock's
but
actually gone
gain.
up. So where's the loss?
Right. Where's the injury in this? The real people who have received injury from this are the customers that have come into the store and been skimped on the actual product that they've been paying for. Like, if
Because
you realistically took the same lawsuit with the same data and just put customers behind it, you have an actual valid lawsuit because their prices have increased while the quantity of their product has gone down.
yeah, I mean, so that brings up lots of questions though, because this isn't like McDonald's. I don't know if
Right.
you've heard lately they had an E. coli scare.
Yep.
Their marketing keeps backfiring, like their $5 meal deal, like their franchises didn't even want to do it. And their stock has dropped significantly in the last year.
Yeah.
So I could kind of understand people doing a lawsuit against McDonald's saying your marketing sucks. You've just gotten blow after blow with bad choices. We want
Yeah.
some compensation for it. I'm just not seeing this for Chipotle though.
No, and neither do I. I feel like it's in the past year, it's gone up $15 from where it started. Like, oh
And
no, you've made me money, just not in the exact way that I wanted you to. Like, That's not how
Well,
that
and when you
works.
look at their financial reports and stuff, they're still growing. They
Yeah.
haven't. I'm shocked that you can have Skimpgate, that's what they're calling it, Skimpgate, and
Ugh.
you're not losing customers, which is
Right.
mind blowing. I'm guessing they just stopped ordering burrito bowls and started ordering something else.
Maybe so. Maybe. I don't know. I like burrito bowls typically just because, like, when you stuff it all in a burrito, like, I don't know, that's a little more limiting to me than like an actual bowl scenario. But I have a
I
tendency
just
of
really
like,
like rice bowls, so
yeah,
that's where I'm
same.
always going. So,
Rice and beans and nama nama nama.
no.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm feeling like all of these news stories though are not happy, you know? Like
Oh,
is
it's fair.
there any like good news in the food industry? Like I
I
mean,
feel.
I need a happy story cuz so now I'm scared of all natural.
Oh,
I'm scared that my ingredient list doesn't actually list the ingredients.
it's probably yeah.
And
Okay.
now I'm scared that if I buy from a company who has a really bad response to anything negative, that the shareholders will go after them, which will eventually raise the price of the product. So I feel like so maybe next week we need to do like some unicorns and roses stories. Like, do those
All right.
exist?
Yeah, I think they do. I think there's some awesome stuff out there. I accept your challenge, and I'm
Well,
going to go
you
down
are
my
in
own little
charge.
wormhole.
There you go. Because
Wormhole.
I mean, you got to check. Maybe it's my news feed, okay? Because I told you my Google feed is all food news, okay?
Yeah.
So maybe I am on like the dark side of Google, where everything's like a conspiracy, you know?
Yeah. The echo chamber of sad news for food. I will
Because
be the light, the Glenda the Good Witch of food, if you will.
I feel like that made me the Wicked Witch of the food news.
I mean, maybe it
I'm feeling
is.
a little green. Um, I don't think I look good in green.
I have the
Anywho,
evil laugh, so you know.
girl. Well, you know, in Wicked, Glinda could kind of be a villain.
That's
She's
true.
kind of a mean girl.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm. So
that's
sorry.
that's
Anywho,
not me. All right.
okay. So come back next week, where this one is promising there will be happy news. I don't know for
Shiny.
sure, but we will see.
I can do
And
it.
don't forget to put your comments down below. What do you feel about these? Are we are you feeling a little depressed? I mean, not really
Oh,
depressed, but just I feel more worried about my food than I did 2 hours ago. So,
okay. Yeah, that's yeah.
all right,
We'll fix
well,
it. I'll fix it. It's fine. I got you.
all right, come back next week and we'll see how happy we can get.
Yay!
Bye, y'all.